Marvel's Spider-Man is an experience that is packed full of content that will consistently keep you on your toes. From swinging through green smog to save the city, to searching for civilians that have been kidnapped in the boot of a car, this game has it all.
Man, there they are! Get him, Spidey!
Hi, I'm Scotty, and welcome to not only my channel, but to my first ever video. This new series I'm starting called Rating and Review will consist of me diving into all of your favourite games with a keen eye and looking for all of its qualities and characteristics to ultimately give you my opinion on whether you should buy the game or not. And of course, I'll be giving the game a rating at the end. Once I give the game a final rating, I'll put it onto my fancy, premium, high quality Excel leaderboard, where you can see the rankings of every single game I've done. Now, I actually very recently played this game for the first time on my PS5, and damn did I miss out on the experience these past couple of years. First, let's talk gameplay. When it comes to gameplay, there are a countless number of aspects present throughout the game that can be pointed out. The swinging mechanic is thrown at you immediately at the start of the game, and I never once got bored of traversing New York City swinging from building to building throughout. Oftentimes I would not utilise the fast travel feature given to you a few hours into the game, purely because exploring and flying my way through the city was such an experience in itself. On top of this, the extra skills you can choose to unlock on the skill tree, such as quick zip and point launch boost, make swinging a lot more satisfying than it already is. There are 3 different skill trees called Innovator, Defender, and Webslinger. These offer room for players to customize the way they play and directly focus on what skills they want to improve. While there is enough room to pick and choose what skills will specifically suit the player, there are 1 or 2 skills that seem insignificant to the gameplay, which I only unlock to progress to skills that seem more appealing further down the tree. For more skilled players, the Defender tree is something that you will want to focus on as it offers more advanced opportunities to slice and dice all enemies in combat.
Oh, come on, fellas! You can't keep ducking income tax like this!
But now moving on to combat itself. Right from the jump, the game eases you into the fast-paced fighting mechanics, with the opening act serving as a tutorial for all basic combat moves and traversal options. Fighting enemies always feels fluid and engaging, which is helped by the weapons that you slowly build throughout the game. My personal favourites were the suspension matrix and the web bomb, which were both essential for stopping crimes around the city. But to me, there wasn't a single gadget that I wouldn't have used. They all serve their purpose in different ways, for example the concussive blast to fly groups of enemies off buildings, or the impact web to immediately web an enemy to the wall. Of course, there are a variety of different enemies in the game, from regular thugs, armoured brutes, all the way to the classic Spider-Man villains.
You do know I can still see you, right?
8 years of this insolence.
The personal favourite boss fights of mine are the Kingpin,
Won't be long.
Dr. Octopus,
You're fighting the wrong man.
and Mr. Negative battles.
Why do you insist on trying to save this piece of scum?
Need officers to respond to a car.
Overall, the side missions were enjoyable enough to not feel like I'm doing a chore just to work to 100% completion. On top of this, there were many citywide activities available throughout the city. I found the Fisk hideouts, demon warehouses, Sable outposts, and prisoner camps the most enjoyable out of the bunch, because of the challenging wave-based format that can be replayed as often as desired, something that isn't available for the actual main story missions in the game. Backpacks are collectibles that are scattered around the city and offer small insights into Peter's life and history.
Rejected costume designs. Not bad, but I think the White Spider was definitely the way to go.
Landmarks are other collectibles that utilize the camera feature to take pictures of landmarks around New York. Both activities can become tedious when aiming for 100%, but it's not something that would be eating up hours of your time. My personal least favourite activity was the research labs that offer small missions where you complete tasks for Harry Osborn. My main issue with these was that they felt unnecessary and offered nothing fulfilling to the story or gameplay, unlike the other activities.
This station tests particulate matter in the air. Now, you'd probably have some science jargony way to say this, but basically, too much is not good.
Customization options play a much larger role in building an experience that suits the player's personal playstyle. The suit powers were a great addition that changed the way you approach combat situations. With each suit you purchase, with tokens gained from citywide activities, you unlock a power alongside it. Spider-Bro was always my go-to as I found it completely demolished large groups of enemies. Elsewhere, the menu is easily accessible and has a straightforward layout with tabs for all of the essentials. One standout issue I had was with the missions tab because it only shows your current main mission or side mission when it could have benefited from a list of completed missions just to easily recap what you have done and where you are in the game.
After all these years, you're still just an ignorant child.
True, but that's part of my charm, isn't it?
The entire story was enticing and engaging. The story opens with Peter being a successful and confident superhero.
A minor inconvenience.
Whoop, gotta go. Hey, good luck, Willie. I have a feeling you're gonna need it.
And it closes with him being a broken and damaged one.
I saw you as a son. I should have known you'd turn on me, just like all the others.
Turn.
I've worshipped you.
This progression throughout is gradual, and the build up to his emotional breakdown after defeating Dr. Octopus and then the death of Aunt May did not feel forced.
I am so proud of you. And Ben would be too. All the people you've saved.
Peter faced a multitude of different scenarios which built up to this, such as the death of Officer Jefferson Davis, finding out a man he thought was a hero turned into someone evil, and having to face all of his arch nemesis at once, just to name a few.
Your debts will be repaid when we're done. Go!
I felt incredibly invested in the journey Peter went on throughout the story, as well as the relationships he built and lost. We see his stubbornness into not accepting help from others because he thinks he is capable of achieving things on his own, but that of course is changed when he finally accepts help.
Everyone is safe.
MJ, if it weren't for you and Miles, I would have been...
As dead as I would have been the last 8,500 times you saved me. Pretty sure I still owe you a few.
The investment I felt in Peter is also helped by the fact that the voice actor for him, Yuri Lowenthal, delivered an amazing voice acting performance. This also goes for all the other voice acting for other characters. In particular, I found the performances by Laura Bailey and William Sailors, who played MJ and Dr. Octavius respectively, were excellent.
Don't worry. Your secret's safe.
Why did you
The choice to make MJ a prominent figure within the story is something that I enjoyed. It was great to see her being her own independent person who was capable of achieving things on her own without the aid of Spider-Man, and ultimately it worked out for her character. Similarly with Miles, I enjoyed the fact that he started a super fan of Spider-Man but quickly became a hero in his own right, and in both cases it was portrayed excellently. My only issue I really had was that I had absolutely no idea where the story was going until the end of Act 1 with the death of Officer Jefferson Davis.
Get down!
The atmosphere created whilst playing is immersive in every sense. The traversal mechanics are not only satisfying to use, but they are so fluid that it helps imitate the feeling that you are actually flying. Notice here the use of sound when swinging from building to building. On top of this, the sound of car horns and traffic below add an extra layer to the feeling that you are present within inside New York City. The developer's done an excellent job of placing the player inside NYC and creating an environment and atmosphere that I can only imagine replicates it excellently. This is also helped by the landmarks activity as it forces you to explore the city and visit the monuments that represent it. On the street you can also hear people either praising you or disliking you. This on top of Jameson's podcast rants help create the idea that the city either love or hate Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, since I know you're listening, imagine my eyes on you everywhere you go.
According to HowLongToBeat.com, the time to beat this game is around 17 hours as averaged by 6.3 thousand people. If you're a completionist like myself and are aiming for 100%, This will take you around 33 hours excluding all DLC. While 17 hours may be a long time for most casual players, I have to say that 99% of the time I was never bored, and by the end I thought my time was very well spent. Something I really loved was how the game was divided into 3 acts, which sort of give you an idea of how fast you are progressing. Again, whilst Act 1 was a tiny bit too long for my liking, overall the length of each was perfect.
We'll figure it out later. Right now we need to get the towers back online. Fast.
And you called me? Aw, that's sweet.
Insomniac Games created an excellent piece of work with this game. Gameplay is made the best it can be with satisfying combat, a weapons wheel that has no faults, traversal mechanics that are some of the best I've ever played, exciting boss battles, citywide activities that are mostly enjoyable, and customization that offers a variety of choices to make each player's experience unique. The story pulls you in from the start and just keeps pulling as you progress through the plot. The number of characters present in the game is huge, with enough to make dedicated Spider-Man fans and newcomers like myself feeling satisfied. The entire story and character development throughout was engaging, with the middle of Act 1 being the only point where pacing was an issue. Insomniac should be proud of the work they have done in creating the most immersive experience as possible in New York City. The atmosphere created by the visuals and audio is something that cannot be forgotten. And for all of these reasons, I'm giving it a 9.4 out of 10, which places first on the leaderboard. Well, technically it's last 2, but hey, one more video will change that up. Thank you so much if you have made it to the end of this video and join me on the journey of my first ever video. If you enjoyed it, then feel free to give it a like and subscribe for more rating and review videos of all your favourite games. Again, thanks for watching, I am Scotty, and goodbye.